Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another in the JBDC Virtual Biz Zone webinar series. And of course, this week we are continuing with our Women's Entrepreneurship sessions that we started last week, because as you know, it's International Women's Month. We have dubbed it International Women's Month, and we just want to highlight the contribution that is being made by our women entrepreneurs here in Jamaica, but also to help to empower them, build their capacity as they go forward in their business, both whether it's at the startup or at the growth stage of business. We want to ensure that we provide information that will empower them as they go through the different stages and processes of business development. So my name is Sansia Campbell, and I'm the Public Relations and Events Coordinator here at the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. We want to welcome those persons who are joining us for the very first time. We're very happy to have you. And for those who have been here before, I see a couple of familiar names in the participants list. And we just want to thank you for joining us one more time. We know that there are so many other important things that you could be doing at this point, but you chose to join us this morning again, and we are truly grateful for your support. Now, as I said before, we're going to be continuing with our Women's Entrepreneurship series, and this morning we have a presenter with us that we had before, and she was just fabulous. She was just awesome in her presentation. She presented on youth entrepreneurship and wealth creation, and this was done maybe about 2 weeks ago, but she was so fantastic. We said, you know what, we're going to invite back Anna Leah from Barita, because we know that Barita Foundation is also very, very passionate about empowering women entrepreneurs. And so we decided that we're going to invite Anna Leah Reid, who is the programs manager at Barita, to come back and to share with us on this very interesting topic. It is taking stock, women meet Roy. So we're introducing you to Roy this morning, the real Roy, right? The real McCoy, who's Roy, and Roy is return on investment, right? And Anna Leah is going to go into that presentation and just really educate us this morning as to how we can take advantage of what's available out there. You know, she will expound on all of the offerings that are available in the financial sector so that we can take advantage of it. She, of course, has with her her colleague, Danella Stevenson, and Danella will be active in the chat room. So if you have questions while Anna Leah is presenting, please do not be afraid to drop them in the chat, because Daniela will be there engaging with you, taking the questions, taking your concerns, and maybe even will reach out to you afterward if there is additional information that you need as well. As is customary, the session is being recorded and it will be placed on the JBDC's YouTube channel later on this week. So if you have a colleague that will not get to join us this morning for whatever reason, they can always view the presentation on the JBDC YouTube channel. So without further ado, it's over to you, Anna Leah Reid. Please make her welcome.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I hope you're able to see me and hear me. And as Santia said, if persons that you know would be benefiting from a conversation like this, feel free to send them an invite right now. You can go to JBDC webpage, bring up the application and just send it forward so that you can have people joining in, or at least take your pen, take your paper, and start to take notes. So as we did the last time, it will be a jam-packed presentation. We are going to have a lot of things, but this time we're going to be all over the place. So when we're talking about just entrepreneurship or talking about youth entrepreneurship and investments, it's easy for me to just say 1, 2, 3, because they're just, it's just a 1, 2, 3 kind of a situation. But when JBDC asked Anna Leah Reid to talk about anything that empowers women, I'm gone off the charts, because I am passionate about the development of women. I am passionate about seeing women taking their place in society. I'm passionate to see more women pushing down the Range Rovers and the Lexus and the Porsche all over the place, because I know the pain of a woman. And so because of that, when a woman, despite changing diapers, cooking, doing all of that, can still take a position of being financially stable, of being a successful businesswoman, it is something that drives me out of my mind. And so I'm going to be pulling information from the east, west, north, and south. But at the end of the day, my ladies, we will put them all back together. I hope that this presentation will be of benefit to you. If there's even one point that you can take from it, please hang on to it. All right. Some of this information you will already know, but it is quite possible that you know it, but you're not doing it. So I'm going to invite you to not only know it, but to do it. So again, I'm encouraging you to post the link on your Instagram and tell your friends, join now, or Twitter, send it in your different spaces, and then we will be able to share that information right away. All right. So I'm going to bring up my presentation as we are, and we know that this screen sharing 1, 2, 3, right? Okay, give me just a second. And let me get started here. There's no audio in my presentation, so it's just for you to be able to see it. Are you able to see my presentation? Please let me know.
Yes, we're able to see it. You can go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Let me minimize the screen here. Get this off. All right, this little man here not doing. Okay, all right, so here goes. So today we are the Barita Foundation presenting to you at this forum that is made available by the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. Those are the persons that the lovely Sansia represents. And I also not only represent the foundation, but Barita Investments, Cornerstone, and Cornerstone Trust and Merchant Bank. We are one big happy family. So this is me, Anna Leah Reid. I'm the program manager at Barita Foundation. And this is my 5th year at Barita. Let me start over this line, because I'm truly privileged to speak on behalf of this company that I work for. And you should know that Barita is really buzzing. We're buzzing. Barita is out and stunting, as my director would say. So this is my 5th year at Barita, and I am proud, super proud to say that Barita really and truly makes money work for you, for our customers. We have happy customers. Sometimes we itch here and there, but overall we have very happy customers. They are loyal, they are faithful. Barita is one of the longest standing financial institutions in its category of investment banking in Jamaica. And it was started by a woman. You know, I should have put a slide in my presentation about that. As I said, I've just been pulling ideas for this presentation from all over. But since the thought is here, Barita Investments was started by Rita Humphreys Lowen. And she was the founder and the sole, well, not sole because it is listed on the stock market. She was the owner chairman of Barita Investments until about 3 years ago, when she decided she wanted to go into some level of retirement, and she sold the business to Cornerstone. And Cornerstone has since been leading the company. So Barita is more aggressive at this point in time. We would have moved from a more conservative, low-key investment house to this splash of an investment house, but we can do it because we have the foundation. Barita has the foundation to throw out like that, because being in operation for 44 years and never make a loss in history, it is a good position to catapult from and to just sprawl out, as people would say, as we are. We have actually earned that position. So I personally started in investment banking in May 2001. And May was a special month, not only because it's my birthday, but yes, because it's my birthday. And I've held positions in sales, operations, compliance, customer service, and now I am with the foundation. And so when I come to you with over 20 years of experience, 20 years of talking to people about building out their wealth and seeing a lot. I'm like a teacher. You know, when you go to school, you'll see a teacher there teaching children, molding them, and the children become presidents and CEOs of companies, and the teacher is still a teacher. So I, like them, I've seen a lot of people progress and become very successful entrepreneurs and leaders in our society. And I am very proud to be a part of those processes. And I am here to do that for you too. So I help money savvy individuals manage their money and start investing. And yes, you are a money savvy individual. That's how I see you, because you could have been otherwise minded. You could have been somewhere else doing something else, but instead you choose to be here today to dedicate your time to hear about how you can actually empower and uplift yourself. And for that, I commend you. I'm proud of you. And it is just a privilege for me to be here today talking to you. And so we're going to be able to ask and answer some questions when we're done. We want to know what goes on in a woman's mind. Why do women do the things that they do? So all the time people, I saw something the other day on social media. I don't know if you have seen it, but it was something that says, when like this, men are always trying to understand women, but how can a man understand a woman when God made sure to put him to sleep before he made Eve? So a man should never ever understand a woman, but a woman can understand a woman. And that is why we should give each other more love and more support, because I know your struggles, I know your pain. I know when you are looking all gorgeous on the road with your hair and your face well done, I know what you've done since morning. And I know the conditions that you've left back at home. And I'm here to say to you today that you deserve everything good that happens to you in life. It is yours. It is yours for the taking. Do not limit yourself, right? I remember growing up and seeing my mother sweating in the mornings. Now, I used to live up Stony Hill, far up past Stony, a little bit up somewhere in West Rural, St. Andrew. And I did not have the privilege of getting dropped to school at that time. I used to have to take the bus. And I used to walk about 3 miles in the mornings before I could get to a point where I can actually get a vehicle to go to school. Sometimes I get a drive, but sometimes I have to walk. So that is to say, I used to get up from 3 o'clock in the mornings and hit the road by 4 o'clock, right? So my mother, I used to be very cold because we have to bathe in a cold water in the hills, and it was just very, very cold. And I used to see my mother sweating. And I used to wonder to myself, oh, mommy just get up and every morning it's just a sweat. So, and as a child, I used to be puzzled by it. I'm here so cold. So I used to be very slim. I mean, you won't see that now, but I used to be very slim and hot, So my mother was fat. She was chubby like how I am now. So I used to wonder to myself, how come she always a sweat? It's because she's fat. So I always think that, boy, when I get big, I don't want to get fat, because I don't want to sweat all the time like mommy. Because even in a cold morning, she has sweat. Fast forward many years later, when I am that mommy getting up, washing up the few dishes that's there, putting on tea, throwing the tea from cup to cup, cooling down the tea so that my son can get some to drink, or my daughter. And there was a time when I had to bathe them first and put on the clothes, but afterwards now, they're bathing themselves. I'm making breakfast, packing bags and all kind of things. And I became the mommy who was sweating every morning, just sweating in the early morning like that. And that's when I realized and I started to understand my mother's world, because I became a mother. So prior to that, I was incapable. I was not qualified to understand the journey of a woman until I became a woman myself. And so, yes, I do want to talk to you about why do women do what they do? And I want to say, why should women learn more and invest more? I just have one slide on that to tell you why you should invest more and learn more. And I want to get your feedback from that. I want you to talk in the chat. I want you to put your questions in the chat. I want you to give me a support, because we're here to support each other today. All right. Then we want to hook up the woman with the ROI. So what women needs ROI, and some of you want to know why ROI spells with a ROI and not ROY, but we're not selling ROI today. Today we're talking about the ROI. So we're going to talk more about that in details. And where do we go from here? Where do we see ourselves after this? And so just take a breath, take a break, relax. This is not school. This is not work. This is just a talk from one woman to another woman. And we're here to see how best we can help each other to get past this hurdle and to move forward. And in making our lives better, we make our community and our society even better from there. And my first topic is, what is psychology? And why am I starting off at a presentation that should be talking about money and talking about women empowerment? And here I go, hit psychology. But as I said before, bear with me. We will walk this process through together. So what is psychology? The Oxford Dictionary says that psychology is the scientific study of the human mind, its functions, especially those affecting behavior in a given context. So we're talking about your mind right here. What is going on in your mind? Psychology studies what's going on in your mind, in my mind, and what causes us to behave the way we behave. So it's, looking at the behavior and per context. So even in the context of investments, there is a psychology in that context, right? There's also a second meeting, the mental characteristics or attitudes of a person or group. So what is it that is coming out of you? What are the characteristic traits that are coming out of you as an individual? What is your attitude like towards investments? What is your attitude towards entrepreneurship? What is your attitude towards building a home, building a society? What is your attitude towards giving a fellow woman support? What is your attitude in general? That is what psychology looks into. And there is a psychology in investing. So how does psychology affect investing? And you can always write this down. Before I said you should get pen and paper and just write these things down. That way you're able to go back and Google search some of them, YouTube search some of them, and think about some of them. And this is one of them that I want you to take away for yourself. Write this question down and answer it. Sorry, how does psychology, and remember we say it's a scientific study of your mind, how does the scientific study of your mind affect the way you invest? Write that question down for yourself. So Google search tells me this, that psychology plays a key role in investing. Emotions that affect investing include fear and greed, but are more diverse and can significantly impact the results. Investor psychological profiles affect how an investor's portfolio performs because investing decisions are directly linked to emotions. Did you know that? Did you know that that is why there are no two portfolios that look the same way? When you walk into a bank and talk to a representative, we can't only say to you, read this piece of paper, because you will read the paper and you'll have the knowledge, but you will not get anywhere far with the knowledge. Why? Because the way it impacts you will be different from the way it impacts me. So information will differ based on who is receiving the information. From person to person, it differs. All right, I'm going to set up my alarm, my timer. That way I know I don't have you for too long, all right? So I'm on time. Good. So back to the topic. Your investing decisions are linked to your emotions. All right, think about that. So we're jumping to another topic, and this page is a new topic by itself, but it ties back to the last one in a way. So why does gratification matter? So we hear this song, is Coffee sing this song that says gratitude is a must? You can type in the chat and remind me who. I think it's, I don't know who sing it, but somebody sing a song and say gratitude is a must. Yes. Da, 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 da. All right, so singing is not one of my great traits, but gratification comes from the word gratitude. And gratification is satisfaction or pleasure that you feel when you get something you wanted or you worked for. Isn't it nice when you feel like you're appreciated and there's gratitude, you know, being exerted from other people? But even when you are able to put forward gratitude and have that feeling of gratification, you know, it is a pleasure feeling. It is a feeling of satisfaction. It makes us walk high and hold our heads high. But this is something that you want all the time. You don't want it to just spring up 1 minute and be gone the next minute. You know, you want gratitude to last. You want gratitude to be something that you wake up with every morning, and then you want to feel gratification from your day. So I want you to just picture this with me. You might remember when you were going to school, or you might want to just remember something that you've seen. So I have seen children getting sweetie or cookie or something, but make we think about sweetie. So, you know, Skittles or M&Ms, those little sweetie that you throw out in your hand. And as I said, if you can relate, I want you to just put in the chat, say, me. You know what I'm talking about. I want you to tell me if you know what I'm talking about. So here it is. You have a big bag of Skittles, and there's some children around you, and you just throw some Skittles in them hand, and everybody get a handful of Skittles, right? Or you may have put them in a little plastic bag and tie them out. And you give every little child a bag of Skittles. And all of them get 10 Skittles. Right? When you look, you see one picnic just open out them and middle wide. And open out their mouth wide and just dump the whole of the Skittles in their mouth one time. Just full up their mouth of sweetie. So there is this child mouth just full of sweetie one time, and them happy, and them just dance for the whole time, and them start to jump and feeling so nice because them get the sweetie and them just stuff everything in their mouth one time. Sometimes they just start put one, but they can't stop. They're just going one. But there's another set of children. When you look on them picking there, them have the sweetie and they hold it in their hand or they push it in their pocket. And 10 o'clock tonight, you still see the child with a sweetie, a lick pan. And then lick it off till the color come off and then push it back in their pockets. Then them have, tomorrow you see the child with their mouth move and you say to them, why your mouth move? What you have in your mouth? Them say, it's a sweetie you give me from yesterday. From yesterday, you have that sweetie the same way? Tell me if you know them picnic there. The ones that eat the sweetie today as them get it, or the one and you have someone put on the sweetie till tomorrow, or next week them still have sweetie. I don't see nobody relating to my sweetie example. When I want me just get boring and just run off the presentation boring, I want to know if you relate to the sweetie scenario. Have you seen children who eat off all of them sweetie one time, and the next set of children that keep them sweetie till long, and come tomorrow, come later? Yes, I see those responses. Thank you. The sister need a little encouragement to know that we're doing this together, right? We're walking through this presentation together. So here it is. We go back to even psychology that we were talking about before. Did you know that that was psychology at work? That can be scientifically defined. And in investments, doing a psychological definition of what we've just discussed with the sweetie scenario brings 3 key terms to life. One is instant gratification. And you can type in the chat which one is instant gratification. And if you are thinking to type the children who stuff all of the sweetie in their mouth one time, you are right. So the desire to experience pleasure or fulfillment without delay or deferment. Basically, it's when you want it and you want it now, right now, this minute. That's instant gratification. Now, there's a thing in the middle called impulse control. And I can relate to the impulse control, but funny enough, a lot of us don't know that that is a disorder, right? Now, if I pick up my phone and there are notifications on it, I have an impulse that triggers off right away. I need to clear all of it. So because of that, I really don't even check my phone a lot until mostly when I'm about to go to bed, and I take that few minutes before sleep to go through my messages. But the minute I see notifications, there's this impulse that is so hard to control, to clear it. Some of you have that impulse to check the light switch over and over to see, did you turn off the lights, especially with the JPS bills that you've been getting these days. You might have an impulse to check the stove to see if the stove is turned off. Young parents have an impulse to check the baby straight through the night. Every time you get up to use the bathroom, you run and check on the baby. Those are impulse. And what we want to have is good control over our impulse. So I did say impulse control is a disorder. And you might say, but it's control. But the control can be too tight on your impulse that it controls you too much, or your impulse is controlling, right? No, an impulse control disorder is a condition a person has trouble controlling emotions or behaviors. I'm getting messages. All right, let me clear that. So impulse is when disorder is when a person has trouble controlling emotions or behaviors. So when you want it and you want it right now under instant gratification, if you have good impulse control, then you can slow it down. You can even put things into perspective. All right. The next topic is delayed gratification. Delay of gratification is the act of resisting an impulse to take an immediately available reward in the hope of obtaining a more valued reward in the future. And so there's instant gratification and there is delayed gratification. And in the middle of both is impulse control. What does this have to do with your money? Well, in the context of investing, if every single time as you get all of your money you want, spend it off like the child with the candy, that's stuffing them out one time, then what do you think that is going to do to your investment portfolio? I've heard people say, boy, woman love spend money. The woman love spend money. Woman love money. You know, the funny thing is a lot of women are using the money wisely, but you may not look beyond why they want the money and why they have that need for money. But people will talk about women want money. They always want money. But then my mother always warn me about man and money. My mother said, man, we save money and take the whole of the money and put in a sound system in our old car. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. But my mother said, be careful of man and money, because man will take all of the money and fix them old car and put in a system that's worth more than the value of the car. So yes, they might have more money and they save more money sometimes, but they'll use that money and dump it one place. So as a woman, you always have to have your little savings tucked away somewhere safely. All right. And them not have to know. Me not tell you if you keep secrets, me just tell you what my mother tell me, say, if you find it to be good information and you want to be guided, fine. But that is what my mother told me. So studies show that delayed gratification is one of the most effective personal traits of successful people. Over time, delaying gratification will improve your self-control and ultimately help you achieve your long-term goals faster. That's what the internet says. So guess what now? You may find a way to use instant gratification to benefit you. Maybe it's something that gives you a high, that make you always want to get more, to do more, to do more. If that drives you by understanding it, then you can control it better. But studies say that people who practices delayed gratification are more likely to be successful. So if you can get good impulse control and be able to slow down your desires to a point where you can manage to keep at something and build up your little kitty, there is more historical data to show that you are more likely to become successful because you have managed to exercise delayed gratification. All right. So I have pulled up something. So this is another topic. So we're going, I told you from day one, we're going east, west, north, and south, but we're going to pull it back. So we spoke about psychology being the study of your mind and understanding why you do the things that you do. Then we talk about gratification, whether it's instant, delayed, or, you know, the use of good impulse control. So we're going to look at something on another ball field. So this is totally different from what we've discussed so far. And I'm using an Investopedia explanation, right? So it's funny when you type in on the internet, the impact of divorce on older women, the amount of information that comes up, it's unbelievable. So years ago, I did a paper for a friend of mine who was studying medicine. And I wrote a project. And in writing the project, I realized that the person lives overseas in the United States. I realized that the school books in medicine were talking about the impact of expanded lifespan. So you live, why people live longer, but it also spoke about the impact of living longer too. And it spoke about women and what happens to them as they get older. I found it very interesting. I've never really had anybody to share that information with to any great extent, because it is just something that I found out by the way. So I'm using this opportunity to share it with you so that you can think about it. If you are not married, we don't know, you might become married in the future, but you do know other people who are married and you can take a lesson from it. So the financial fallout of divorcing after 50. Divorce at this age can be financially devastating. The cost of living is considerably more when you are single than when two of you share expenses. So that is true. When two incomes are coming into the house, you find it's more manageable. And it takes off the stress off of you because you're able to save more, you're able to do more things because you're sharing the expense. But in Jamaica, where we have so many people living singly, whether a single man or a single woman, or even if you're in a relationship but you live separate, because you have separate finances, it is more strenuous on your income. But when two people come together and share, so in America, they promote coupling or marriage, because when you file your taxes, you get better returns if you're a couple, you get more tax break if you are married, because it is an encouragement. It's something to encourage you to come together. Unfortunately, in Jamaica, we don't promote marriage as a financial opportunity because we look at it from a perspective of love only. Right? But if we look at marriage as and coupling as a form of boosting your financial portfolio, it is something to consider. Put it this way. The lady from Barita Foundation is not telling you to be in a relationship or anything like that. I'm just putting it out there for you to think about if you're wondering about it. So more worrisome, a mid to later life split can shatter retirement plans. There's less time to recuperate from your losses, less time to pay off your debt and weather stock market fluctuations. Also, you may be approaching the end of your peak earning years. I'm going to show you a graph to show you about your peak earning years. So there's less of a chance of making up financial shortfalls with a steady salary. The article went on to say, these concerns are magnified for women. After a divorce, household income for women drops precipitously. In fact, according to the US Census Bureau, 20% of women fall into poverty after a divorce. What's more, because women's life expectancy is 80.5 years. So women expected to live longer than men. In the first half of 2020 versus so in 2020, they did this study and women are more likely to live to be a little over 80, at least. And men in the same study are living about 75 years, right? A divorced woman can find herself living for a lot longer with a lot less. So there it is. You end up, the funny thing is women tend to marry older men and men tend to die earlier in life than women. So because of that, my next slide will show you that a woman then is more likely to become, this is on a divorce, I'm jumping too far ahead. Women take more of a hit financially from widowhood and divorce. No, I was on point, widowhood. So even if you're not divorced, the likelihood for a woman's husband to die before her is actually greater than the opposite. And I know me says so, our research says so, right? So women are going to be in a position to suffer more financially, right? If your husband died or if you face divorce. How much of a hit? Well, about 8% of married older adults are poor or near poor. Among unmarried men, the percentage rises to about 20%. For unmarried women, it's 27%. So even if you've never been married, women are likely to be poorer than men. Right? So I just saw the thing set up. But older women suffer too. Economic hardship is bad for your health. And again, unmarried women take the brunt of that. So if you're not married, you're faced with more economic hardship. And if you're married, your husband might deadlift you or divorce you, and you end up back in economic hardship. No, it goes to show, well, it says, let me finish reading this. I'd always assumed that the disproportionately female population of nursing homes resulted from longevity. But maybe women fill nursing homes not only because they're ailing and need care, but also because they're more apt to be single. A lot of times studies show that when men divorce, they are more likely to get back into another marriage. So then they end up in another two-income home. And usually they're marrying someone younger than them who is still in their earning years, right? Women are way less likely. I didn't put that statistic here, but women are way less likely to get married after a divorce. So that is unfortunate. So you end up still in a single income home while facing all the falling outs of the those financial situations. So that was a sad topic for me personally, because I've seen this so many times. I remember having a client once who she didn't have any children, and she was married for most of her life. She had a very good husband, and he provided for her very, very well. As a matter of fact, they live way up in the good high society hills of St. Andrew. That was a sad situation because the man fell ill, and she loved her husband a lot, and she wanted to preserve his health as much as they can. And they used a lot, almost all of their savings to try and get him better. Unfortunately, he passed away, and she was left without a dollar because all of the money they were using for medical bills and all sorts of testing just to see how they could have gotten him better. She has no children. She has always found security in her husband. So she didn't have a lot of friends or family that she was very close to. And now she was broke. Luckily, she had a flat at the back of her house. So what she did, she moved into the flat, which was a self-contained unit with a little bathroom, a little kitchen, and a bedroom. And she rented the front of her house. So because she owned her house, it made a difference. She didn't have mortgage or anything. She just had to pay taxes. And taxes are not that much. So the rent from renting the main house would have given her enough money to cover expenses and also to be able to pay taxes. I know of a similar situation. In this case, the woman didn't have a flat, and she ended up renting her house, and she moved in to a nursing home somewhere off Red Hills Road. And she used the rent to pay for her nursing home care. And so you see where a lot of times things can happen to us that we never thought about. And, you know, I grew up hearing people say to be poor is a crime. But we're here today not to keep you in that position, but to help you to think about what you can do differently. As a woman, women are drivers in society. Why? Because even the men that are ruling now were once the baby of a woman. And so as women, we can even curb our children. We can give our children love. We can put values in them. We can instill certain principles in them, and just them seeing us do our best and loving, giving them all the love and correction, good love. And I'm talking about spoil love that can, make poor men, but giving them good love and just growing them well with less hostility and more love. We can help to shape the future for the next generation. So how are savings and investing related? And remember, if you have any questions at any point, Daniela Stevenson is here supporting me. She's a licensed financial advisor, and she can answer any question you have. If you want to just put your email address in the chat, she will record your email. She'll send you information. So we can make this a one-stop shop. You don't have to leave to call back somebody. You can have someone just right as it comes to your mind to interact with you, to answer your questions, to take your information, and to be able to follow up with you. So you can take that opportunity. You can message her in the group, or you can message her privately, whichever works for you, because we have different personality traits. And as a result of that, we want to be treated individually. So whichever way works for you, feel free to utilize the opportunity that you have today. And thanks to JBDC for making this possible again. So how are savings and investing related, right? And this, I just grab it off Google because it's not anything that needs scholarly review. It's just simple conversation, simple things that you can type in Google, type in YouTube, and get a body of information. This one worked better for me though. Savings is setting aside money you don't spend now for emergencies or for a future purchase. So when you're saving, it's money that you plan to spend, right? So saving is money to spend. Saving is money to spend. Saving is money to spend. Whether you're spending it right now or you're spending it later on, you're saving to buy a shoes, a month end, or you need 2 months end money to put together to buy something. But saving is money set aside for spending. Investing is buying assets such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or real estate with the expectation that your investment will make money for you. Investments usually are selected to achieve long-term goals. So when you say buy, you're not really spending it per se, you are using it to put into an asset, right? So investing is actually money that you plan to put aside to work for you. So you work for your money, and the saving is where you spend it, whether now or a little bit from now. Investing is that money that you purpose in your heart, that you're not going to spend this money, you're going to use this money and set it up to work back for you. Now, the problem is when you are making that plan to invest at a later date, if you're not sure what it is you're doing with the money, you can take it and put it aside, say you invest it, and it don't make nothing for you because you did not educate yourself well on where you're going to put that money and why you're putting it there, right? So I'm only going to speak about one option today, but if you want more options, put it in the chat. Danella will make a note and we will get back to you with that. So we're going to talk about stocks today, right? And you see it here, it says investing is buying assets such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds. So after you have bought stocks, it becomes an asset that you have. But you want to know how to buy your stocks, when to buy your stocks, and what is a mindset. And the mindset is you're buying stocks that can give you, help you to achieve long-term goals. So you're not playing room for rent, apply within when one run in, one run out. You understand? We're not doing the in and out kind of thing. That is speculation. And you may not be at that level where you want to speculate with your money yet. You might want to go somewhere where it is solid and you make a solid decision and you just work with that. All right? So that's the difference between savings and investing. So a lot of times we think saving and investing is the same thing, while it comes from the same place, as in from your salary or from money coming in, revenue for you. The way you allocate it is what makes the difference. The one you allocate for short term is savings. The one you allocate for long term is called investments. So let us meet Roy. Who is Roy? Roy is return on investment. Think about it, return on investment. Return on investment. So you would have invested your money and you're going to invest it so you can get back something on it. So you want something on it. Now, if I was doing this presentation to young people, it would be totally skewed in a different way. I'd throw it in a different direction. If I was doing it to men, all them whole bag of talk when me go on with man no want that, man just wants to see the numbers, they want to hit this and hit that. But because you are a woman, I'm going to talk to you differently. Because as I said before, with psychology, it's what really is happening in your mind and causing you to do things the way you do it. So a lot of women have good intention, but the execution is lacking because the person sometimes who are talking to you don't take time to massage you through the process. So we are going to be massaging our way through the process. And if you are a man logged on listening, it can only benefit you. Think about it. You might have children, you might have your mother, your sister, your girlfriend, your wife, persons that you need to advise. And the information is also good for you. It's just that I'm not going at a man pace. Man pace tend to be more rushed and aggressive. Women pace tend to be more loving and nurturing. So that's what we're doing with this presentation. We're nurturing you with this information. And so return on investments, as we spoke about before with investments, it is intended, your investments are intended for a longer period of time. And so the returns on your investment, you'd want it to have a positive return, because you don't want to put away your money and then when you go back, it's shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. That's not the purpose. When you put your money aside, especially for long term, you want to make sure that it is growing, growing, growing. So when you put money into an investment or a business endeavor, ROI, return on investment, helps you understand how much profit or loss your investment has earned. So it does go into a technical term. And from that technical term, they have all kinds of calculation, but we're not going to dig into the calculation. So it shows you ROI is equal to the net profit over the cost of investments times 100. So that is a formula for ROI, right? So it means that if you started out with $100 and at the end of the day, you have $150, what you're going to do is put the net of it, $150, right? And then draw a line and underneath it, you put $100 and you do the calculation and multiply it by 100. So that's how you work out return on investment. But the truth is, we know if we are making on that money. We may not know the exact formula. We may not know exactly how much, but you want to be in a position where you know that you are actually earning from your money. All right. You want to earn. That's why you're doing this, because you want to be making a profit. All right. But why is it that we're not having more successful women? Why is it that men, a liberty woman all the time, and I say woman only want money, money, money to spend, woman always want money for this one? Why is it that so many women are in that position to get liberty taken off them? Why aren't we seeing more empowered women? Is it because women are lazy and not working? I don't think so. You know, why is it? But we ourselves sometimes have a bad perception of ourselves, right? And so I want us to look at, where do women save and invest? Because trust me, you are saving and you are investing. But let us look where you are doing it. A lot of people have this impression of women, but I want you to put in the chat if this is you. Is your money, your earnings, is it going into building out your body, investing in your hobbies, your health, your wellness and relationships, you know, drinking wine and eating caviar with your girls in matching pajamas, exercising? Is this where your money is going? I want to hear from you. Yes, yes, no, no, no. Is this where your money is going? When you earn your money every month and you get the coupons, are you spending that money on these things? On your hobbies, on your health? You know, if I have to go to the doctor and my child wants something. The truth is I put off my doctor's appointment and take care of my child's needs. So am I really taking care of my health? Am I eating healthy? Am I hanging with my girls and re-energizing myself, recharging myself? And am I taking up a hobby so that I can do what I like and become one with nature as I take photographs or as I go, do other things? Tell me if that's you. Are you investing in your hobby? Is that where your money is going? Is that where you are investing? Or are you investing here? Do you see yourself here? Do you see yourself investing in taking care of your children? Being teacher to them, being doctor to them, going grocery shopping, ironing, nurturing, building up your children, having babies, taking care of your spouse, working, going to school? Can you identify with this picture? So a lot of times women don't realize that your money is finishing, not because you wasted it or because you are taking care of yourself, but because you have actually been investing in your family. So don't be hard on yourself and think that you're not investing. You actually are. When you buy that book for your child, or when I was reading, in putting together this presentation, I saw an article, right? And it was an article that had studies supporting it, that in households, you have men taking care of large ticket items. So the man might pay the mortgage or pay the rent, pay the car payments, and those are big hits to the budget. And so it looks as if the man actually is spending more money in the house. But research has shown that women pick up little things here and there. You pick up some more things at the supermarket. You notice that your son's shoe or your daughter ballet thing is getting old, and you pick up another one. You pick up some socks. You pick up some underwear for your husband, some merino or undershirt. And studies actually show that women, even when you're not taking up the big ticket items, you actually spend more on the house than you realize it. So if we move away from that guilt of feeling like we're wasting our money, wasting time, wasting this, and getting frustrated because we're not achieving how we would have wanted to, if we move away from that guilt, it will be a good place to start. So when we're doing a check, and usually in my presentations, I like to start with the first topic traditionally that I look at is usually doing a self-examination of your financial position. So we usually look at your net worth. So I usually encourage people to go on the internet, pull up a net worth, and you can actually write it down, a net worth calculator. So in doing a general presentation, I think we should do a net worth calculator where we look at where our monies are, where you have money, if it's in the bank, if it's here, if it's there. And then we look at pulling it together, knowing where you are, whether it's a negative or positive position, and then we build it up from there. But because I'm talking to women, as we talk about women's rights, women's month, women's celebration, I just wanted us not to take stock of the money that we have, but to take stock of our emotions. As a woman, where you are emotionally, the guilt. I find that a lot of women suffer from guilt, and that includes me. If you suffer from guilt, you can say so. If it's not guilt, it's fear. If it's not fear, it's guilt. So here we are like a roller coaster, doing guilt, doing fear, doing guilt, doing fear. And yet still we are doing so much. I mean, as you look on this page, I can relate to this page any day, anytime. I see myself here straight for the past 18 years of my life. This was my life, looking spiffy for work, studying, taking care of kids, And yet still we feel so unfulfilled. We feel like we've wasted our time. We feel like we've wasted our lives. We feel like we're getting nowhere. But I'm here to debunk that for you today and tell you that that is not true. You have been investing. You just have not understood how to measure the returns on your investments as yet. And so while I'm telling you to continue to invest in your family and invest in your home, I'm saying to you that you can do it smarter. So think about the amount of money that you put in, even replacing shoes and socks and underwear and things like that. Because what you can do at the beginning of the year or beginning of 2 years is come up with a plan and you buy this amount and it lasts. Instead of just picking up one here and there and allowing children to feel like they have so much more and they can lose this and lose that. My daughter, when she loses her things, it's still lost. It's still lost. I buy a jeans jacket, you carry to school to wear, to look pretty, and you lost it. It's still lost. I'm not replacing it. She passed for high school. I went to buy a sweater, the school sweater with the school logo. She lost it because she had school and she ramping and talking, and some other child who did not get one want to have the school sweater. It's still lost. So I'm not going to spoil her to the point where she can take advantage of what you have because you don't value it. A lot of times we have our desire to take care of our family has allowed us to not take care of our other investment options. And we need to create a balance. I did not put in a slide about budgeting, but that's another story for another day, because we need to learn how to budget and budget properly so that we can earn from it. So this slide is saying, how do you teach your children about money? So I'm asking you personally that question. How do you teach your children about money? If you have children or plan to have children, how do you plan to teach your children about money? And from that, I'm asking you, can you teach what you don't know? If you don't have good money principles and practices, if you don't understand how money works, how investments work, can you really teach your children? As we said, children is our future. We teach them to work hard. We teach them to wake up early and do all of this. But have we taught them when the money comes back, when they earn the money, how they become rich from it, how they benefit the family from it? A lot of times we don't. And that is why I'm happy that you're here today. All 20 of us learning about how we do what we do. All right. So I found this rich chick girl on the internet, and she has an article that I found very interesting. It's called Investing Defined. And she says, invest in yourself. So when she speaks about investing in yourself, and when you hear people talk about investing in yourself or take care of yourself, you know, this is what she's saying that usually comes to mind. So get your hair and nails done, go to the spa, buy some cute new clothes, go to brunch with your girls, take a weekend getaway. All of the above are pretty much the standard things you think of when it comes to self-care as a woman, or at least the above activities are the most common stress relievers women run to when we want a quick way to feel good about ourselves or our situation. So that's a money problem right there, because, and it happens to me too, you feel so low that you go and get your hair done. While the above are certainly important, at the end of the day, they are only temporary fixes. Self-care that lasts permanently is going to take something a little more enduring. So self-care needs to last for a longer period of time. And this is where delayed gratification that we talked about earlier comes back. True self-care as a woman takes investment. And she gave us 10 ways in which she thinks a woman can invest in herself. So instead of getting your hair and nails done, there's some investment that doesn't even cost you much money. So her first recommendation, and she's rich chick, you can search her up online. She says, number one, relationship with God. This may add to your purpose in this world. Number two, she says, if you don't, you should take care of your health. If you don't take care of your body, where else are you going to live? So if you're not living in this body, where are you going to live? And the thing is, long-term health care is more expensive and really can hamper your investments, take away everything that you worked for. And so because of that, taking care of your health is a very good thing. And it is indeed an investment now for future benefit. Number 3, your habits. People do not decide their future. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future for them. And that is so true. I have seen where a lot of time people admire you because of your habits, whether you have good habits in how you carry yourself, how you operate, your time management. These are habits that people observe and recommend you based on them. So even when you are least aware, when you invest in having good habits, coming to work clean and looking professional. I mean, outside of work, my shorts are the shortest. My friends used to call my skirts belts. But when I come to work, I should look like I'm at work, because I don't want to come to work to look like when I'm going to a party. I invest in good habits. So I try to look professional when I come into a professional space. And so my coworkers, my colleagues, my clients will think about me professionally. And when they're thinking of recommending me, if a wife comes to invest with me, when I was in investments, and she likes the information, she doesn't have any problem sending her husband to come and talk to me tomorrow. And I started this business 20 years ago. And so 20 years ago, I was at the age that a lot of people now are afraid for young people to talk to them husbands. I used to have wives sending them husband to me all the time. I know people sending their children, because guess what? You invest in your habit, and your habit of being professional, your habit of looking professional, your habit of conducting yourself professionally, being responsible, being on time, honoring your obligation. Those are habits. And that's not even very expensive, right? So that is a good investment. So number 4, new experiences. Trying new things is really the only way to grow. And we'll talk about growing outside of your comfort zone. Number 5, your network. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if it's 5 children you have and you spend your time with only your 5 children, you have to change that. You need to change those habits. So you spend time with your children, but you need to create a network for yourself. Sometimes you have to be deliberate and purposeful about the persons that you want in your network, and you go for it. You go for it. But if you go and you have nothing to talk about, then you're going to waste people's time. And number 6 comes their books. You need to have something to talk about when you're networking with people. And networking, I hate going to networking parties for work, because I think my network started when I was in primary school or basic school. And because of that, the time I spent to go and network with people, when I go and book up in everybody from every financial institution to talk to the same 10 people, right? I take that time to start calling people from when I was little bit, calling this one and say, hey, you know, Mas Joe, I hear your daughter doing very well. And remember, we used to go Sunday school together. I'm going to talk to her a long time. Give me her number now. And Mas Joe, give me her number. Me call her and say, hey, Kenisha, walk on. You remember we used to go Sunday school and the people used to do this and thing. And you build up your network. You can build your network at no cost. Maybe it costs you some credit or a phone bill, but build your network. Find people who are progressing, who are going places. I'm talking to women who are entrepreneurs or have entrepreneurial ideas and ambitions. I'm encouraging you to look for other successful women. You have even Mrs. Lewin, who started Barita. The other day I went and looked for her and spent some time with her. You know, there are other women who are retired, who want company, and they did very well in society already. And you can link with them, talk to them, get their ideas, and just, you know, but it doesn't even have to be a woman. It could be a man, right? I used to work at another investment house, and the managing director there, he is 80, about 85, 86 now, and he works a lot from home. He's somebody I talk to from time to time because he doesn't have a lot of people around him. His children are busy having kids and making their life. And so he is looking for somebody to sit and talk with every now and again. You know, I encourage you, find the older persons in your community who are retired, who want company, and on the weekend, go and spend 2 hours with them, talk to them, get ideas, because you as a young entrepreneur or a middle-aged entrepreneur, you need to get a network of people that can encourage you, right? So you need to build the money so that you can use the money to come and invest that money. And then we know about ROI. So we're going to get the return on our investments, because you're not there for waste time. You know, you're here to make sure that what you earn goes and work for you. So you won't have to work every day of your life. Good, good. So books are the fastest and cheapest way to learn new skills so that you can move up in the world. And as I said, you know more things, so you can talk to more intelligent people and you have a lot to offer. Sometimes you'll read something about something totally unrelated and you're in a space, and here it is, you talk to a farmer and you're able to tell him about snails and the impact of snails on your food because you had read a book about snails. So don't worry about it, even if your hobby is and your book choices don't always add up. It gives you something different, all right? Skill mastery. Once you are a master of something, you have that knowledge for life. So even when if you're employed and you're getting training, I don't usually pass up on training. Or when everybody else at course and I say, them love put training on Saturday and Sunday evening. Me to every one of them, because when I get that knowledge, nobody can take it back out of my head. And if I'm working and I get an opportunity to study something, to go to an event, to go to a seminar, and I might learn something or I might meet somebody new, I call that personal development. But I see so many of my fellow women, when you get an opportunity, you shy away and you put yourself running at the dark corner and you're not putting yourself in positions to empower yourself. Don't shy away. Try and master something and get these knowledge centers, these knowledge opportunity, you know, information, opportunities to get information that will build your knowledge to help to propel you to the next level. Right? So debt elimination. If you owe a ton of money, you are limited in the moves you can make. So manage your debt. Don't run left your debt behind you. Manage your debt as you move. Sometimes you have to borrow money because you have to maybe take a mortgage or a car loan so that you have more disposable income. But if you're going to take a loan and paying 10% on the loan, and instead you could have bought the car, right? And save yourself that 10%, you're taking the money to invest in something, you're getting 3%. So here it is, you have the money saving, say you have $100,000 and $100,000 in saving, and you're getting 3% on it for the year. You buy a car, you could have bought the car for $80,000. But you chose not to buy the car for $8,000, but to take it on a loan. And the loan is taking 10% out of your pocket every year. So you're here now spending 10% on this $80,000 to give 10% on $80,000 so that you can keep $100,000 and get 3% on it. It's not logical. Sometimes you have to cash out your debt. And that becomes a good position. So yes, you might have less money, right? But it's not a less money situation that is going to kill you. You can save the 10% you are paying on the car. You can now save that 10% on the money, right? Save that 10% every month and add to your money. So that's another way that you can look on it. But you need to eliminate as much debt as you can. Don't walk forward with too much debt. All right. It hampers your ability to make good decisions. It limits the moves you make, this author said. Income. Making money is a skill. I think men learn this early because they are taught from an early age to provide for themselves. But I think that as women, we sometimes forget that growing our income is a skill that we must learn and practice. My mother would have said, stick a pin. No, if you did not learn at an early age how to grow your money, you can still learn right now. And so I'm very happy that you're here and trying to get some more information. So you need to learn how to grow your income. The fact that you are affiliated with JBDC tells me that you're already on the right track. But I want to encourage you not to do it alone. Take 2 women and encourage them to do it too. If you have daughters, include them when you're doing your business planning. Include them when you're taking decisions. Teach them. Not only teach your sons, but also teach your daughters how to increase their income. Teach your daughters, teach your sisters, teach your mother, teach your girlfriends. Have meeting just to discuss money. My brother and his friends, them sit down and talk about money. Me and my friends, not so much, which is why I love this opportunity to come and talk to people like you so that we can connect heart to heart, right? And discuss money and how to make money. We need money, and men accuse us all the time of loving money. They don't accuse us of loving to use money to build things, you know. They accuse women of loving money. And here we are not teaching ourselves the skills of earning and growing money. So, you know, we're on, as I said before, us being here is already putting us on the right path. Education. If you are willing to buckle down and invest in your own education, whatever that looks like for you, the faster you'll get to where you're trying. It is the faster you'll get to where you want to go. So say, for example, you like to paint. You can invest in a painting class. And that is why it says it depends on what education looks like for you. If you want to do something, there are so many courses out there. You can do coaching courses. You can do just some other little courses. As you are going into your business of entrepreneurship, you might realize that there's another skill that helps you. I remember years ago doing the paralegal course. At the time, the paralegal course was a 1-year course. And after doing paralegal, I realized that even working in this kind of business investments, my paralegal training comes through for me all the time. You know, it is something that it helps me to do better and to do more. So as a paralegal working in a financial institution, it may not have made sense initially if I was just looking to say, okay, I'm a banker. Should I do a paralegal course? Nah, don't make sense. Let me do some other course. So you might be thinking like that, but because I did paralegal training before, know that I'm in this business. I've seen where as the laws change to talk about money laundering, the laws change to talk about what it is that we do for our different clients. The law changed about how I use ethics in managing the way I do my business, even the way I keep my paperwork and manage my books. I see that my paralegal training becomes a major investment, which I did about 25 years ago. I did a paralegal course, and 25 years later, it would have been paid for a long time, pay back for itself a long time. And it is truly an investment that I can tell you I earn from I learn and earn from those training. So investing in education is a very good opportunity for you. It doesn't matter what it looks like. If you have an interest, go for it. We talk about mastering your skills. Number 7, master your skill, because it might open up a new career opportunity for you. And that is something that you may want for yourself. And so let us look at why do you save or invest? And the last time we met, we did look at this slide, and I want us to look at it again. So why do you save or invest? And remember, we said saving is money that you plan to spend. Investing is money that you plan to put away for a long time. Remember, we look at the things that women are accused or would like to spend on versus what we actually spend on. We spend on our family, we spend on creating a comfortable and happy home for our children, ourselves, and our family too. We spend on even helping our parents. We spend on doing a lot, and that is where we have been investing. But as I said, we can shake it up and look at other things that we really, really want. Yes, we want our family to be happy, but look at some other things that we're saving for. And if you see anything here that applies to you, just put me in the chat. Just say that, I'm me that, I'm me that. So it's like a roll call. So you are saving for emergency funding. Is that you? Are you saving for your retirement? And remember, retirement is what pays you after you stop working. Are you saving for your retirement, or do you want to save for your retirement? Is the reason why you're saving and investing, is it for a down payment on a house? You see yourself yet? Is it to maximize interest rates? And maximize interest rates is, for example, when you're investing and the bank says to you that anything between $10 and $100 get 2%. Anything from $100 to $1,000 get 3%. Anything from $100,000 to that get 10%. You want to change the tier that you are at. So you want to get a bigger interest rate. So it's safe to reach a different bandwidth so you can earn a bigger interest rate. And that is what it means by to maximize interest rates. So you save as much as you can, put it in that spot to bring up the interest rate some more. Some people save towards that, and that's for more people who are more financially savvy. You may save for a vacation, car, or other big purchase. Have you seen yourself yet? Whoa! The numbers are going up in the chat. Are you saving for irregular or recurring expenses, like when you didn't take out the bed down a courts for hire purchase, or because it was online schooling, you went and got desk and chair for your children or for your work, and so you end up with that bill that you have to pay courts monthly? That's irregular and recurring, right? Are you saving for your own college education because you want to go and get your degree finally because you've been working and you don't have a degree, or because you want to go and specialize in something, or you want to get your master's, or you want to get your PhD because you did always things say doctor look good in front of your name, so you're going back to school for that? Or are you just saving and investing because you want to create wealth? Is it for your children's education? Or is it to create an inheritance, as the Bible says that you should leave something back for your children and your children's children? Why is it that you invest? And I would like for you to write down the ones that applies to you so that we can create a plan around it. It can be one, it can be two, it can be three, it can be all of them. But if you know what you're planning for, then you can have more specific plans in achieving them. And so as you look at the list today and you can identify something that can encourage you to save or to invest, I want you to just take note of it and just put it on your vision board. I don't know if you have an actual vision board or if you just have a page, a clear page, and you want to write down your things on it, but you can do that because that would be very good for you to stay focused and know exactly what it is that you are working towards. All right. So I told you before that we're going to look at one specific investment, and it is stocks. So what are stocks? Stocks are a type of security that gives stockholders a share of ownership in a company. Stocks also are called equities, right? The stock market is where stocks are traded, like Coronation Market. You have a stock market. It's just that it's not physical like Curry. It's more electronic. It's in a virtual space, but it does the same thing like what vendors and buyers do at Coronation Market. They trade stocks, right? And it says the stock market fluctuates, which increases the possibility of loss. Investors are encouraged to invest in the stock market for medium to long term, as this helps to get past the volatility. So remember, we talk about savings is short term and investing is long term. And here we see medium to long term coming up here. Now, as you think about it, if you are down here and it was here and it went down and come here back, then you might get scared and say, oh God, may I lose my money? May I lose my money? But what this is saying is the longer you're up there, even when it starts fluctuating at this point, I hope you can look at your screen. If you're fluctuating down here, you get scared. This is when you just start investing. You tend to be down here. After about 2, 3, 4 years on the market, you start fluctuating at a different level. So you realize that although the market is still going up and down, you're not fluctuating at a low point. It's still, even when the market is low here, you're still at an advantage. You're still in a gain position, right? So when we look at investing, we talk about risk, and there's some things that you have to take more risk for. There's a rule of thumb that says more risk, more return, less risk, less return. So if you want more return, you have to think about increasing your risk. Not usually we talk about the age of risk and we want to take less risk as we get older, but I'm not going to go into risk details today. You can leave your number and Danella. Remember, if you put your name, number, email address in the chat, Danella is there to talk you up. Danella is there to collect your information and reach out to you afterwards. She is a senior investment advisor at Barita Investments, and she would be able to assist you to just do an evaluation and assessment of your risk. You can also go on the Barita website, www.barita.com. And from there, you can do what we call a roadmap. If you go in Google and type in Barita roadmap, you can go to the roadmap and type in your details. It asks you different questions about yourself and your personal habits. And from doing that, it does a computation and helps you to understand your risk profile and your risk tolerance. So that's all I'm going to talk about risk today. But I'm using this picture here to show you that when you have cash, when you say, boy, I don't want to lose the money, cash is seen as safe investments. And you realize that the risk is very, very low. If the risk is low, the returns are also low. Bonds and fixed income, you take a little bit more risk with those, but the returns are also greater. When you decide to buy property or invest in property type investments, at that point in time, your risk goes up, because think about buying a house or apartment. When you buy something or a piece of land, when you buy it, you go down to zero, your money done. And you have to start over again and start save again. So when you think about a risk factor, you realize buying somewhere your money done, but over time, it builds back up. Over time, if you took a mortgage, you can afford a mortgage better, as you have annual inflation rate helps to balance things out. But at the end of the day, you are owning a piece of property. And remember, we said stocks are same as equities. And because of that, as you have equities, that is high risk, and high risk comes with high returns. We normally, I click on here and go to Jamaica Stock Exchange. I'm not going to do that today, but I'm going to encourage you to go to www.jamstockex.com. That's jam, JAMSTOCKEX.com. And you can go to the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website. And there is a page there that says, are you new to investing? Are you new to stocks? You click on yes, I'm new to stocks, and you start reading up about stocks. It gives you a whole lot of information there about stocks and how you invest in stocks. So I know that when I gave you the definition around here, it's a little bit more complicated. And if you look, it was from a investor.gov website. So you might say, oh, comes all along, may talk to you down, on a level, and here it is, I get complicated and up there with my explanation. I'll show you the big explanation, but I'm going to help you to come back down with it. So let's take 2 minutes to go through this. Say, for example, you bake good, and you start out by saying that, you know what, I'm tired of getting up every morning, working hard, and then my boss talks to me anyway, and I feel unappreciated. And Every time I bake, everybody take the food when I bake and eat it and only tell me it tastes good, but I'm not using that skill to make money for myself. So as a baker, I am going to start, maybe do a little course at heart and see if I can bake some more and watch 2 YouTube channel and, you know, start talking to some, remember we talk about the ways you can invest by your network and stuff. You start talking to other people who do baking and find out how they price them stuff and things like that. You're going to go down to Chung's Catering, buy half a tree and look at the price of different things, and you're going to do all of that. So you've done your research and you start understanding the costs that are going to face you if you decide to walk away from your daily job and to start your own bakery. But you decide you're going to do it because you have backup, you know, you have a supportive family. Because you have that supportive family network, you're going to go out on that limb and you're going to take a chance. But you realize that to get all the things from Chung's, to get the right stove, to get all of these things set up, you are going to need $400,000. $400,000 to get started, but that's going to give you a good start, and you're going to get to put out some good cake and buns and all these things, because you're going to get the decorative things, and you're going to get the little things that you need to make the roses on top of the cake, and you can start doing wedding cakes, you can start the Easter bun. You just have set up yourself that you get a good kickstart, but you only have $100,000 for yourself and you need $400,000. So what you do, you go to your mother and you say, Mommy, I want to do this thing. I want to start some baking things and start the business. Can I use the kitchen? Your mother say, yes, you can use the kitchen. Now your mother kitchen bigger than yours. So you start go for your mother, go use the kitchen. You say, Mommy, I'm not going to have enough money. You want to invest? She said, how much you want? You say, boy, I have 100,000, but I really need 400. She say, since you have 100, I go and put 100 too. Mommy put 100,000. You go to your daddy, you know, me and mommy going into this business together. We have $200,000. What you think? He said, I'll put 100 too. Daddy put 100. Then you go to your brother and say to your brother, say, big brother, you know, so may I start baking tea. I say, what? A long time you should start that in a sister. You know, say you have the best cake around town. Me can't buy cake off a shelf because of your cake. All right. How much you want? And you say 400,000 need to start at 300 I have now. And him say, say 100 year, man. I said, good to go. So you start a business off, and we're looking right here, your initial investments. So here it is, you have 4 people investing in your Sweet Cakes Company Limited, right? And your initial investment is $400,000, which means that each person gave you $100,000 to start out. So here you have your father, you have your mother, you have your sister, and you have your brother. I'm going to ask you, bright people, how many, if you're looking on this one cake business, Sweet Cakes Company Limited, how many shares are in this company? Type it in the chat. How many shares are in the company? 4 people sharing the initial deposit. 4 people decide that they will put in their money. Everybody put in equal amount. Tell me in the chat, how many shares are in this business? Anybody know how many? Ah, yes. So if your answer is 4 shares, you are correct. The initial investment is $400,000. 4 people came together, put $100,000 each, and they put it together. But if you want to know how much each person own, in your mind or on paper, you have to cut up the business into 4 parts. And so if you're going to call each part a share, because mommy share that's another business, daddy share that's another business, my share and brother share. And we're going to say boom, bam, 4 shares. The business of 4 shares. Now shares is the same as equity. So where 4 people has equity in this business, each of them has 25% interest, right? You can also look and say that, each of these is a stock. So there's 4 stocks in this company. 4 stocks in the company. And each stock is worth $100,000. It's an expensive stock, but for the purpose of this explanation, you can just look at it right here. I want to know if you think it's simple maths. So Sweet Cakes business have 4 shares, 4 stocks, 4 owners. Each share value $100,000. So sister, move on, Santia, move on with the business, and the business boom, bam, as they said, it had to good, the money double up, and guess what? Each share is valued at $100,000. And as the profit went up, you could have made each share value now 200,000, but you take a decision to say, guess what? We're going to split it in half, same way again. So we want to have 8 shares in the business. So we're keeping it at $100,000 per share. And so everybody end up with 2 shares, because if each share is valued at $100,000, brother have 2 $100,000 share. So he own 2 stocks, 2 shares. Mommy own 2 shares. She have $200,000 in the business. Everybody own 2 shares and it's $200,000. Each of them own. And the value of the company moved to 800,000 from 400. So here it was, we started the business, put in all the equipment and everything, and we're now making profit on the business. So the money that we got from revenue from selling the cakes and the different treats on top of the value of the assets of the business means that the company is now valued at 800,000 because we doubled the money. Because it's 800,000, right? And mommy gave you 800,000, but only, remember, say 800 of the 800,000, you know, all right, now we go to one person, you know, the 800,000 have to split in 4. And that is why each person end up with 200,000, because 2 4s 8. So each person have $200,000 in the business. And we have split them up into $100,000 shares. So each person has 2 shares. In the third diagram, we realized that the brother wanted to do some business and wanted some money. Still 800,000 because it's shortly after that. So what you want, the brother wants to sell one of his stocks. So you can buy it from him, but in this case, your cousin was interested in the business all along. Your cousin said, yo, no couldn't make me come in and look how me grow no house like me, I want a brother and sister, I want to have this business. I want to not even make me come in and me can carry the thing. Me know people, and you say, all right, you man ninging in your ears too much. So you decide to bring him in on the business. So since brother wanted to go back to school and him not going to have as much time and him going to want some money to pay the school fee, he sells one of his share to his cousin for $100,000. So cousin now have 1 share, brother have 1 share, daddy have 2 shares, mommy have 2 shares, and you have 2 shares. That's just a basic concept of how a company can be looked at in pieces. It's one company, it's looked at in pieces. Now, when cousin came on, he bought an asset. Mommy owns an asset, daddy owns an asset. This is an asset that you are buying into. And because you are buying into an asset, you are becoming a part owner of this business. So if there's a loss, I'm not giving you back no money out of my pocket because you are a part owner. You share the losses and you share the gains. If you make whole heap of money, I'm not going to say to cousin, give me back piece of money because I mean make you earn money. No, cousin's going to say, but my money in this thing here too. So you want the full blunt of the profits. And so you have to take the full blunt of the losses too. You share profits, you share loss. All right, nobody no own nobody nothing. All our way big people own a piece of the company and we're moving together. If you don't want your piece, you can sell it to somebody else or sell it back to me. That is the basic concept of shares and stocks and equities, all of them being called one. Equity mean your ownership in it. Share mean your portion of it. And stock mean a part of it. All of them mean the same thing. If you think about Grace Kennedy in that term, of having many owners, do you realize that It's the same way. Grayscan is just one company, just has lots of owners, and the company is split up in many pieces, and each owner can own 1 or 1,000 or 10,000 pieces if they want, based on the amount of money they have to spend. Well, that is the basic concept of shares and stocks and equities right there. You actually know it. You just have never put thought to it, maybe. Now, what we're saying to you, just like our cousin could have seen that this was doing very, very well, and he wanted to be a part of it, it's the same way you have the capacity to look into the stock market, go to the Jamaica Stock Exchange, look at their website and look for companies that you support. When you go to supermarket, are you buying Best Dressed Chicken? Why not own a part of Best Dressed too? Do you have a baby and every day you get up, you buy Lasco? Because my children used to love the pink one. I used to tell them it's pink milk. They used to love pink milk. They wake up in the middle of the night with their eyes closed and say, pink milk, mommy, mommy, pink milk, right? You can actually buy into Lasco. So every time you spend money with Lasco, it comes back to you as an owner. So you're not only a consumer, but you're an owner. Now, I'm not telling you to run into every company and do this, because there are some companies that have good reputation, which we call blue chip. And there are some companies that them just a try a thing. And because them a try a thing, the possibility for gain is great, but the possibility for loss is great just the same. But if you buy into a company that has been there for a while, that's stable. Suppose you think about Cement Company, which is a company that has been in Jamaica for a very long time. Markio is not Jamaicans own it anymore, but it is there. It has very little competitors in the market, and we see that construction is booming. You might want to say, hey, I may not be buying cement, I'm not a customer, but I can be an owner. When you get your pay go straight at NCB. You are a customer of NCB. You can be an owner of NCB too, by buying into the stock market, just like how your cousin bought into Sweet Cakes Company Limited. Am I making sense? Do you understand? Just put me in the chat, me, if you understand. If there's any part of this concept that you want to be explained further to you, just put your email in the chat or your phone number and we can get back to you with more details. But I just want to introduce you to the concept of stocks. And as an entrepreneur, this could be your company becoming a listed company later on as you build up your reputation. I remember when Wisynfo was coming to market in 2017, December or early 2018, Wisynfo decided to go to the market. Everybody wanted a piece of Wisynfo, because Wisynfo is such a had a reputation before. That could be your business. You can build your business from now. And if at a later date you want input of money, remember that this person only put 100,000 in their own business. They got shareholders. They got people investing in their business for them. Why? Because you keep good records, you have good reputation, you have good business practices. Remember, we talk about your habits, investing in your habits, because this is your habit of good money management, your habit of conducting yourself professionally has now determined your future to become a business owner in the Sweet Cakes business. Remember, we talk about your networking. Because of your network, even in your own family, people were willing to invest in you. Remember, we talk about creating good habits, educating yourself, reading books. These are all things that can contribute to you building out something great. The fact that you're with JBDC tells us that you already have what it takes to do something great with your life. And I'm encouraging you, keep good records so that you can open bank accounts. Keep good records so that you can be audited and don't have to worry. Keep good records at the end of the day. Invest in your family, but also invest in yourself. It's not as expensive as you think. But as I said before, if you're able to look at the things that you want to look at, you can also look at the transportation to get you there. If you want to go to America, you're not going to go on a bicycle. So if you want to know that you want to save for your retirement, or if you want to create wealth and generational wealth, then it is very important for you to not spend all of your money when get so frustrated that you definitely need a massage and a manicure and pedi and all of that. I'm not saying not to, but you can go to a more reasonable place and save a part of the money. You can cut your nails low, like mine. I used to wear a lot of nails when I was younger, but now I'm looking at more substantial investments. So yes, I'm one of them guilty of pouring everything into my children. Sometimes I walk, I see my daughter paint set on the ground, and I want to kick myself. I was like, look at this. The Pitney says she's interested in painting. I buy everything for painting, and look at that. Overnight she lose interest. I should have just buy one cheap little something and see how long she going to maintain the interest for and how much. But no, me go on Amazon and me buy all of the old for something them was shaped like diamond and all of these things. I buy charcoal so she can do her charcoal painting, and now she don't even really want to do the things that much anymore that she was so excited about a year or two ago. So when I'm telling you that we can curtail the way we invest in our homes and put it more on paper, men do it and children still love them. Men do it and women still want them. And yet still they are putting their money a little here, but a lot in investments. Men are investing. And as I said to you before, this is a cycle of how your investment can go at different phases in your life. So you find that before kids, you're able to save more money. This says pension, but it's the same thing with saving. But you have poor planning. So yes, you might have more disposable income, but you have poor planning. You remember where I said to you, write down your goals, because you have less goals. You're not saving towards a particular thing. So you don't know a bicycle can get you to America because you don't know that you want to go to America. You only think about America, but not think about put it in logics. And so because of poor planning, it goes up, but the money is not saved, it's wasted. When you should be buying your house and a car in your early age, you may not have done it. And then you start having children. And then your money, your capacity to keep your money becomes lower, right? Because you're investing in family vacation, taking care of your children, all these things. I know little Pitney love one doctor, everyone and catch a cold and all these things, right? And by the time you start coming back up with your investments, little after that, it's time to retire. And so the best time is now. The best time is now. So I said, I'm going to show you one single slide that is going to tell you why you do why you should change what you're doing. And this was here. I mentioned it here when we spoke about. So we talk about women meeting ROI. We talk about what goes on in your mind, why you do the things, why you don't have the money to put in the bank is because you've been investing in your children and your home because you want your happy home. Good, good, good. We talk about why you do the things, what influence the decision. And it's really because we are more nurturing and less pointed, less purposeful in becoming rich or financially stable. We know we want to do it, but we really haven't put a roadmap together. But here I said that why should women learn more and invest more? And so this page is to tell you why you should do more and invest more. And it's because the USAID, right, which is an establishment in the United States, obviously, and they give aid all over the world. The USAID has actually done in-depth studies in why they should invest in women, which is so funny. So if USAID can pump resources globally and write this article, then I think that you and I should invest more in ourselves just by this. USAID says, why invest in women? Aid programs that provide women opportunities to better their health, better their education, and better their well-being have effects far beyond a single individual. They have realized that investing in one woman multiplies the impact of an investment. So it says, a woman multiplies the impact of an investment made in her future by extending the benefits to the world around her. She creates better life for her family and herself, and she builds stronger community. And the USAID is saying we invest in all kinds of things, we invest in all kinds of people, but when we invest in women, this is what happened. They say also that when 10% more girls go to school, a country's GDP increases on average by 3%. You didn't do anything but go to school. They're saying just having a more literate society among women is an automatic reason that propels a country to do better just by having more educated women. It says 1 in 5 girls in developing countries who enroll in primary school never finish. So if 1 in 5 women are not finishing, 1 in 5 women finish, so you have 4 that is not finishing. But if you get 10 to go to school, the country's GDP improves by 3%. I think it's a win-win. I think we should invest in our education. I think we should invest in women. I think we should encourage girls, and every girl in your community, when you see them, you start to watch her, you see she walk and wear short frock, she ready for this now, she ready for that. But how many times do we stop and encourage them, advise them? We were young ones, we know what can appeal to them, use that information and steer them up and steer them in the right direction. The USAID went on to say women make up 43% of the agricultural labor force, which is funny because we always think a man run farm, a man invest in our labor, but they're saying that women make up 43% of agricultural labor force. However, women are less likely to own land and own fewer amounts of land when they do. When women have the same amount of land as men, there is over a 10% increase in crop yields. Need I say anything more? The USAID has studied, or whenever USAID give you a grant, or a loan, they collect data back from it. They measure data, they become a data haven. And from the data that they have collected worldwide, they are saying that all this time you would think say a man around farming and agriculture in the country. It's actually 43% of women. The rest is man, 57. Yes, it's them, but not that by that much. 43% of women are driving the labor force for agriculture. And that when women are work so hard but not owning land. And when you do own land, you're not owning as much as men. And why is that so? Because we have not been purposeful in owning property. We've not been purposing in owning our own home. We're going to live at people's yard. We're asked man for their money. We have not been purposeful in growing our own wealth. And when you grow it, to look for good investment options like the stock market. When 2 people sit before me, the man won't go in the stock market because all in one way, in Bridget make money on it, in Bridget make money on it, in Bridget make, what the woman them full of questions. Boy, me don't know, yeah, man. Me don't know when me should put money in a stock car. Me watch news last night and the stock market go down. Yes, but men still in it. Men still make money from it. People are still earning from it. USAID study shows that if a man have a piece of land and a woman have a piece of land, same size land, the woman is going to have 10% more results than the man. Do you need more to say that you should invest in yourself? Do you need more to say in this Women's Month 2022 that you should invest in the women around you? Do you need more to say that women can do better if we support each other more? I'm running out of time, but I want to remind you of something that happened to me in my years gone by. I was at school and we're playing. I was in basic school, so I didn't reach, I was like 5, maybe 4, 5, 6, because I left basic school at 6. And I remember there was this girl, we were playing, and all of a sudden she called me away from the playground. I said, Anna Leah, come here. Anna, come here. And I said, may I play? Like, I said, come play now. And she said, come here. And I went with her. And in going with her, I went to the back of the schoolyard and she said, look here. And she lifted up her dress and showed me her underwear was falling off. When I look at it, I don't know if it's our big sister panty or our mother panty or whose panty, but it that drop off her. And I said to her, you have a pin? And she said, no. And I use my finger and I grab the side of the panty and I roll it and I knot it and I dry tight on her waist and I said, jump. As a child, I remember that. I don't have a lot of memory at that school. I remember eating soldier button, sock, and banana. And I remember my teacher them, but I remember this instance. The little girl panty was falling off of her and I knot it, you see, and I tie it and dry it on her waist. And she jumped and it never drop off. And I said, you are good now. Until today, many years later, almost 40 years later, I still try to be that person for other women. I still want to be the woman that my coworker will come to and ask for help and know that nobody else now gonna know about it. And as women, I implore you, be the woman that becomes an anchor for other women. Be the woman that is successful in business so that another woman can be helped by you. Be the woman that looks out for other women and strengthen women. When a woman wig a drop off at the side of her head, don't laugh after her because you don't know how much children she just take care of. Sometimes it's not even her own, her sister and cousin them own. Fix it for her. Be the woman that straighten another woman's collar. And when you have shoes, I use somebody without a shoe, give them one and tell them all I like and say, why me have too much of this? I don't feel comfortable. Give them and not tell nobody about it. And this word from Eleanor Roosevelt, a famous woman, she says, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I want to encourage you, this 2022 Women's Month, believe in your dream. You can have it. You have 10 children, you can't stop your dream. Use the 10 children to help you propel your dream. Put them to work. Let them help you. Make one turn accountant so they can help you with books. Let one become a chemist so that can help you with cultivating better and bigger products. Don't stop. Don't stop. Be careful who you tell your dreams to because some people are dream killers. Look for people with like mind and share your dreams. I said to a friend of mine once, I took her along Hillshire Road and I showed her, she was my best friend. And I said, you see that piece of land here? And I see here, I want it. And I started telling her about my idea. I was very excited about it. And she kissed her teeth and asked me for that, I waste her time for. She kissed her teeth. When I went back home, I felt so discouraged to the point I never want to tell nobody else about it ever again. I was so embarrassed because she was my best friend and she said, I waste our time to show her my dream. And I looked at her before we came out to the car and I said to her, if Michael Leachin took you out there and showed you that and told you the idea I just shared with you, what you think? She said, what? No, man, Portmore would have become the new North Coast. And she started telling me how my dream great. And I said to her, you didn't have a problem with my dream. You had a problem with the person who is dreaming it. And I learned that people can kill your dream. And I encourage you, every one of you listening today, do not let anybody kill your dream. So there's some pitfalls to investing and entrepreneurship. A big one is fear. Another one is lack of focus, not reinvesting in your business, not saving enough, not saving frequently enough, lack of discipline, taking poor advice, lack of funding, poor financial habits, poor customer service, no corrective measures whenever you get feedback from your customers, and poor record keeping. The lists are onerous, but you are women who are building homes. Why are these pitfalls for you in entrepreneurship and investing? You have proven to yourself that you can build a child from an embryo. You can build a child from a little peanut rolling around beside you on the bed. Why can't you build a business? Why can't you build a successful portfolio? Is it because of what we spoke about earlier, the psychology? Is it that something is going on in your head that is stopping you? And I just wanted to take a look at this slide here, right? Success is not always found in your comfort zone, right? Success is not always found in your comfort zone. And just think about it. Look at it and think about it. So what you find comfortable may not be profitable, but you want to look at ways you can build yourself and your wealth, and you want to look at how you can increase your income stream. There are income that you earn, like your salary, your paycheck, whether it's from your own business or not. You have profit that you can get from things that you're doing. So profit is whenever you invest something. And so we talk about return on investment, ROI. That's your profit, is your ROI, right? The return that you get on what you've invested. We can talk about interest that you get when you put bank accounts and buy bonds. You get interest. Interest can be lower than you think. So you want to be conscious of how much you're earning on it and look for a better interest rate based on the quality and the type of investment. We talk about low risk, low return. No, high risk, high return. You can create a balance, a little of this and a little of that. You have dividend income. When you buy stocks, when we look at sweet cakes, if sweet cakes makes extra money, sweet cakes can give an extra, different from the share price, more money is made. You put a little change in a mommy daddy, sorry, pocket to just, give them something to sweeten the pot. That's called dividends. So companies who do well will send dividends checks to their investors, right? There's capital gain. That's the difference between what you buy and sell. So in sweet cakes business, when the brother bought the stocks, he invested 100,000, but he was able to keep one stock value 100 and sell one for 100. He was able to sell half of what he owned for the same amount of money he used to buy the entire thing. So that extra 100 that he gained, that take one stock from worth the 100,000 to 200,000, the extra there is what you call capital gain. You have rental income. The story I told you about the little old lady who was able to move into the back of our house and rent the front of our house, that is rental income. You can rent your car, you can rent your set, you can have a camera and you rent it. You can have a YouTube backdrop that you rent, whatever, those are rental income. You have royalty for persons who have certain talents like singing and so forth. But this is the most important slide for me. You need to plan, prepare, and execute. All of what we're talking about right here will do nothing for you if you don't go through these stages. So we can talk a pretty talk, have a good day, time well spent, write down the notes, but if you don't read it back and execute, it will just be another presentation for you. You need to plan. When I talk about the person building out the sweet streets, they plan for it, right? They plan that business opportunity, and then they prepare, and then they execute it. So I'm running down to my last slide. So I want you to just return on your investment, whatever you're pouring into should be earning for you. Being financially literate is a powerful thing, especially for women. Women will only get better by investing in financial literacy courses like what you're doing right now. And your 5-year game plan, which we said what you're going to do in 5 years time, you need to start setting SMART goals. So as we looked at the different areas that you want to invest in, whether it's in your education, it's in your wealth creation, it's in your buying a house or so forth, take each of them and set SMART goals for them. Make it specific. So if you're going to buy a house, look for the area, start looking at the price of house, make it specific, how much money you can spend, make it measurable. So you're going to set a goal to get the deposit and make it, just the first step, getting the deposit. Then after we make the deposit, you can do so and so. So you make it measurable. You might have to reduce your debt before you start doing that. So you're making it measurable. Reduce your debt so you can get a better mortgage rate, so you can get a better lease and so forth. Make it measurable. Make it achievable. If you know that you want to live in Beverly Hills, but you can't afford a deposit, set a goal that is achievable. Think about Mona, and then later you can move to Beverly Hills after that and rent the Mona house and have an income from there. Maybe put on another flat at the back and rent it and get 2 income from your Mona house, and then you move to Beverly Hills. Make it relevant. Make your goals relevant and set time frames for them. Set your timelines. All right. So set smart goals for the next 5 years. Take your plans, shell them out, pull them apart, and set smart goals to achieve every single one of them. And at the end of the day, you want to have returns on your investments. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sums up my presentation. So if you have any questions at this time that were not answered, you can feed them. I thank you for being attentive. I was measuring my time, so I didn't talk over my time, but we still went over time. Thank you so much for JBDC for offering me this opportunity. And if you have any comments or any questions, I'll take them now. Sancio, I hand back over to you at this time.
You know, there were so many emotional moments in this presentation this morning. There were points when I felt like crying. There were points when I felt like Superwoman. There were so many stories that I was able to connect with. And from all of the comments that have been made in the chat, I can see that the ladies also connected with a lot of what was said this morning. This is the first investment presentation that I ever go into that I am thinking now about, okay, what am I investing my time in? Am I investing in me, right? I'm also remembering all of the nights when you talked about the set for your daughter, the painting set for your daughter. I immediately started thinking about a sport that my son told me, cried, everything. I have to do this sport. I have to do this sport. And I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then maybe about 2 months ago, he just announced to me, I'm not playing that sport anymore. You know what I mean? So you look at all of those things and this was such an enlightening presentation. It was deep. We talked about, you know, self-love, investing in yourself, investing in your family, your job and career, and really how are we investing in ourselves to make ourselves better, skills and education. I mean, you went over time, you know, Anna Leah, but I deliberately decided not to stop you today because I feel like if I stopped you, the ladies would have probably stoned me. The ladies came and they stayed, and if they got kicked out of the room, they came back, they come back again, you know. And we're so grateful. And I wanted to make another observation. The USAID slide that you showed, it reminded me of it could be a meme, but it was from a sermon that a pastor preached, and he says, whatever you give a woman, she multiplies it and give it back to you. So if you give her a house, she'll give you a home. If you give her groceries, she will give you a meal. And then the next thing he said, if you give her frustration, what you're going to get back? Multiplied. Right. So, I mean, this was such an enlightening presentation. Anna Leah, there was a whole different chat happening in the chat as well. And so I just want to ask the ladies, are there any questions that you would like to pose at this point? Because we're wrapping up, we are way over time. Just to remind everyone, I see a couple of persons asking, where will the recording be available? It will be on the JBDC YouTube channel. You can check maybe about Thursday of this week and you will have access to that. Please share it with the other ladies in your life. All those ladies that want to enter entrepreneurship, or really just anything that you want to do. If you want to invest in your financial future, if you want to think about how you've been investing your time. I mean, this presentation touched on so many points. There was just so many things to take away from it. So thank you so much, Anna Leah, for pouring into us this morning. We really, really appreciate it. Anything from the chat? All right, so there's nothing from the chat. Anna Leah, you covered everything. Thank you so much. There are a couple of persons placing their information, which would be their email addresses and telephone numbers in the chat. So I know that Daniela will make contact with them in order to see, you know, if there's anything that Barita can help them with. And as I said, Anna Leah will be talking And I know that there are a couple of persons on my team that want to talk to you as well. So we'll be having that conversation. So thank you again for sharing with us this morning.
Thank you.
And thank you, ladies, for joining us. Join us again next week, Tuesday morning at 10 for another presentation in the Women's Entrepreneurship series. And see you then. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.